Today we're going to talk about the statement, I don't have time to dedicate, to build out systems, to do things. I get asked so many times, how do I do it all? And there's no secret to it. It's just a simple system that I deploy every single time I encounter a recurring task. So I want to share that with you today to create more time and more freedom in your real estate business. My name is Janine Sasso. I'm the owner and founder of the Hyperlocal Agent, and we really want to make sure that agents are leveraging their time so effectively that they love their business again, right? On average, in my personal real estate business, I do about 30 to 40 deals a year while working maybe 10 hours a week. And I don't say that to brag about how much money I'm making versus how little I put in. I put in a whole lot of behind the scenes effort to get to this type of leverage that is now allowing me to grow the Hyperlocal Agent as a national training platform. And let me share with you a couple of these hacks, these tips, these tricks that allowed me to be spending a lot of time with my kids this summer, being present, writing another book, and just enjoying what I've created within not just one multi-six-figure business, but two. And I do think that you have the opportunity to do exactly what I did if you're willing to put a system in place. So where's all of this coming from, right? I am seeing so many people after the summer, they're like, I can't, I have my kids at home, I don't have time. That is one of the things that I have a lot of conversations about, which I really just want to take this person and be like, listen, you have time, you just said yes to something you should have said no to, right? Or maybe instead of watching that Netflix show, or maybe instead of scrolling on social media looking for that magic bullet, you should have just put your phone in the other room and worked 20 minutes on something that have then a bigger impact down the road. And systems don't have to be complicated. Systems don't have to be a lot. Systems really just come about when you pick up a task and you know, hey, I've done this task before. You need a system. And that is what I want you to start noticing in your environment. How can you put a system behind something so that it takes less of your brain power, of your energy to do it? And ultimately, either it's going to be a system that runs it, or you can train another person to run it for you, an operator. So operators of real estate businesses is a concept that we think it's always reserved for teams or reserved for, big companies, when in reality, you are a small business owner wearing a lot of hats. And it's your responsibility to start plugging people or systems in to start scaling your operation. This is why you became a business owner. You did not become a business owner to say, hey, I'm looking at pretty houses, right? When you get your real estate license, you became a business owner having a lot of things to take care of. And for some of you guys, this is going to resonate. And for some of you, you're going to say like, oh no, I just want to show houses and help people. Okay, then be happy with a couple of houses you're selling and moving on. But if you're here for the business talk, right, then this is where it gets interesting. So a couple systems that have allowed me to scale up without more of my effort. Staying in touch with my past clients and SOI. I didn't have a big SOI, so my past clients became my SOI, and I grew that over the last almost decade that I've been doing real estate now. But one of the things is staying in touch with them. And for me, this is as simple as a postcard. That's right. Sending a postcard has allowed me to stay in touch with my past clients without spending time on the phone, without texting them, without checking in with them, without doing pop-bys. It has allowed me with a push of a button to send it to one person, 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people even, right? And I don't have to put in more effort. There is a system in place. That system runs every single month consistently. Consistency being the key on some of these things right here. And if you're not being consistent, you need to put a system in place to become consistent, right? So that's one. Two, Happy birthdays. I have added happy birthdays into my past client retention strategy because they are the relationship component that is so vital to create lifetime customers. And lifetime customers are the essential for growing a business that eventually will be fed by referral and repeat business, right? Because as I get older, I don't want to go out and constantly convince people, hey, you should work with me. I want people to come to me at the later stage of my career and say, hey, my kids need to buy the house. My kids have a condo that we actually bought them and they need to sell it in order to get a house, right? I want this recurring business down the road because, again, as we get older, right, our bodies don't do things like they do today. So if you are a later stage agent and you're still fairly new, but in a later stage of life, then again, especially for you, it's important to figure out, who did I meet in my walk of life, right? How do I stay in touch with these people? Like, I didn't have that, so I had to build it. If you are a later stage agent, you have that. You can rely back on the connections and the relationships you've built in your lifetime before becoming a real estate agent. So that is the birthday ones. Anniversaries, okay? Anniversaries are another great, fantastic way for you to actually build leverage in. It's something that happens every single year, right? Like clockwork. And this is like the annual checkup for the health of the house. How is the house doing? How's the neighborhood doing? How are the comms doing, right? How's your equity status doing? And again, putting a system in place that runs on autopilot doesn't have to be complicated. It really doesn't anymore. So that's a little bit of leverage on that end. Let's talk about leads, okay? Because after, some of you might say, Janine, I don't have an SOI just like you either. You need cold leads. So the question is, how do you get leads, right? What is your system there? Are you trying to do everything and nothing is systematized? That's a problem. I've had a really good conversation with somebody the other day and they said, you do not have to coach jump every time that your contract is up, because sometimes when you stick with something long enough, it actually is getting better and better and better and more efficient. And that is sometimes a really good sign that you have found your thing. Now, means you have to show up, obviously, right? But that is just one of those things that I think you can do to really figure out, is this something I like? And when it comes to leads are one of those things where you can figure out what is the path, right? Email drips is a very, very common thing. How are your email drips doing? It's not about creating more email drips, right? It's about optimizing the ones you have to actually get better open rate, better click-through rate, more replies. It's all about the optimization of what you are doing as you develop a system. And sometimes that's boring. I'm going to be honest with you. Optimizing is not always something some of us like to do, but so is trying to find something new all the time. So again, sticking with it, that is one of the hardest things, but that is where $1 million businesses and brands are born. They didn't jump from one thing to the other, right? They stuck with something versus trying to constantly find the shortcut. So that is another thing I want you to really think about. What is there in terms of leads that you're doing? Follow up, that's your emails. We also do a lot of mail follow-up with people. So the question is, what's the system there? Do you have a system in place? Can somebody else execute the play, or is the play running without you? Because when you create this type of freedom, that is where you can then focus on other things. Example, I have not followed up with a lead since 2023 on my own personally. And my business has grown and grown and grown. How is this possible? Right? It's systems, and it doesn't have to be a complicated system. How do I want to stay in touch? How do I want to stay in front of it? I want to make sure it's in my brand, because I don't want to email things or send things to people that I have no idea what's being sent. So I want to be in charge. I want to put the past together once, and then I'm just going to run the play, and I'm going to run it over and over, and I'm going to expect the results. If I don't get the results, I'm going to go back in and I'm going to tweak it a little bit without scratching it all. So that is just a little bit of leverage that you can build into your business, because at the end of the day, if you're continuing to do things over and over and over, right? Or if you're driving buyers around, one of the best ways you can become more savvy with your time is starting to focus on listings. Listings are leverage. You can service 3 times as many listings as you can buyers. Buyers, you do not have control when they find the perfect house, right? For listings, you always know somebody's going to be looking, somebody's going to be showing. You just have to make sure you get the right person into the right house and negotiate to the best of your ability. So again, if you're looking for time, if you're looking for leverage, focus on listings, put systems in place, find the recurring things, and at the end of the day, do the work. There's no shortcut to any of this, right? If you're owning a restaurant, you have to show up every single day, and you can't just show up once in a blue moon. Your business needs you to show up. Your business relies on you. And I hope you found a couple different ways that you can look at leverage. That's what we do, especially with GeoCentral. It's just the leverage that's been built in is for agents that are serious about getting time back. And frankly, I've hired assistants and I've paid them 10 times more than what my system can do now. So I hope it helped somebody. I'll see you in the next episode.